Satnam aloha, everyone. And let me know if you can hear me. Okay, and if I sound clear to you, that would be great. And please leave your human design type and your astrology information. And and how is everybody doing this week? So the good news is actually, as of now, Pluto just went direct. I just posted a meme about that today. If you follow me on my YouTube community channel and the Instagram and Telegram. So that's good news. So you should be able to, I'm feeling the shift already. And so this is Pluto moving on, going on to Aquarius, and that is happening November 18th, right? Okay, let me just move me up here. I'm just going to stay up here. There we go. Okay, so today I want to talk about the full moon that's coming up and on October 17th. So there's the transit chart here. There's the transit chart. Okay, good. I'm just double checking that I can see. Okay, great. Thank you, Renee. Renee's letting me know that I sound loud and clear. That's awesome. Okay, so the full moon coming up on October 17th. So 1 week in a week. So you can see it's here, the 42.5 there. And the 42 comes off the sacral center down there. And then, of course, it's with the Earth in direct opposition to the sun. So that makes it a full moon. So full moons are all about releasing. So this is really good in terms of theme. So we're still in this purging phase that I talk about. That's like a key word right now is we're purging, not self. So if you're not familiar with human design, that's the word for our conditioned self, our not self, our inauthentic self. It's our ego, mind, that identity that we've taken on that is not us, and we're letting that go. We're letting that go. And the transit program is helping us with that if we're smart, right? And so you always want to go to your natal chart. So I always have a link below. It says click your free chart. You can get your free chart there. You don't have to do no strings attached. You don't have to leave your email or anything like that. And then you can find out what your type is and then your natal chart and then follow along, subscribe to my channel. And you're going to learn more about your chart just by following this channel. Okay, so big releasing. So we have the 42, right? The gate of 42 and the 32 because we can't forget about 32 as well. And so the 42 is the gate of growth. So the gate of growth. And so this is about cycles. The 4253, if this was defined, it's all about going through cycles of experience, basically. So the 42, the 53 is the beginning, but the 42 is the ending. The 42 is the ending. So it's the gate of growth in meaning that you persist and you have the staying power to see something to its completion. So it's ending, full moon, releasing, completion. So right away that's telling us something is releasing in our life. And so each of these cycles with the 42, they build on each other and we learn from them. This is another big theme for this full moon is we're learning from our experiences, and then we build upon that, and then we're on to the next cycle. So in terms of the collective, how this affects the collective of humanity, is we're all connected. We're all one. So if one human learns a particular experience in a lesson, it goes into the bin, it goes into the collective unconscious of humanity, and then it's available to everyone in a sense, right? So this is for positive or negative, right? Because it can work on the negative side too. I just read about this experiment they had with monkeys. They had 6 monkeys and they had some bananas. They put them all in the cage and they put bananas on the top of the cage. And whenever a monkey tried to run up and get a banana, he would get, sprayed with water. Right, so every time so each monkey tried, and each one got sprayed with water until they stopped, until they stopped going for the banana. And then they took one of the original monkeys out. They put another monkey in, and the new monkey goes up. Right, the other ones are trained not to; they're conditioned not to. Then the new monkey goes up, tries to go up, and the other monkeys pull him down. The other monkeys pull him up, beat him up, right, and beat him up. And then, so what the next thing they did was really, really interesting. One of those original monkeys, they brought in new monkeys, all new monkeys, right? All new monkeys. They put the bananas on top of the cage and none of them went for it, even though none of those monkeys had experienced getting water in the face, right? So it's just showing us, it's just an illustration of how we're all one. And so the trauma can affect us as a humanity, like passed down through the generations, but not just your own generation, like your fractal line in all of humanity, right? So it can affect you for positive or negative. This is how, like, every experience is connecting to every other human on the planet. I don't know why I said that. Okay. Okay, so it's about learning from your experiences. So we want to bring it back to Pluto. Pluto's in the 60 for a while, but in terms of astrology, it's in Capricorn until November 19th, November 18th, and then it's going to go into Aquarius. So this is really about learning some powerful lessons that Pluto's brought up for you since 2008. So if you go back to 2008, you're finishing up some sort of cycle. There's a big cycle right there, right? That's coming to an end. Okay, so the 42 is in the 5th line, and the 5th line is it's called self-actualization. Self-actualization, the 42.5. That's the keynote. So this is about changing, right? It's about ending, but it's about changing and evolving with this new world, the new earth that's coming, right? So the example is used as, back in the DVD days, you go to Blockbuster and rent a DVD. Even before that, it was a VHS. And then Netflix started, and it's funny, that was around the same time period that Pluto went into Capricorn, that all those stores started collapsing because the streaming services started, right? Netflix. Well, if you're a Blockbuster owner, and you have this natally, the 42.5, then you'll be like, okay, I got to adapt. I can see these changes that are coming, and I'm gonna go into something else, another business, because this is like dying, right? So the 42 really lets you know what's worth investing in and what's not, right? So that you adapt to these changes that we're going through. We're not going back to the past, right? The past is over. We're in the new earth now. Okay. And we got to look at the 32 in the sun position, and these are programming partners. So that means like they're twins, they work together, and they're in direct opposition. If you look at the I don't have the mandala here, but the human design mandala, it's directly opposite, right? So this would be, the 42 is Aries, right? And then Libra is the 32. So they're directly opposite to one another. So they work together. So you can see the 32 is here on the other side, and this is the fear of failure. It's the fear of failure. So this is ancestral. That's why I called it letting go of ancestral wound, right? Letting go of ancestral wounding, ancestral fears. So think of your ancestors, like way, way, way back, maybe even before money was created, in terms of an exchange for goods and services, how we did that as humanity. Even before that, we had this fear. And the fear of failure is we wouldn't survive. So if we didn't have enough water, we didn't have enough food, we didn't have shelter, like basic things like that. That too is in our cellular memory, like the monkeys, right? Like the monkeys, that's in our cellular memory. So this is coming up to be transmuted, So in the modern age, this fear of failure that's in our DNA, in our cellular memory, is transferred onto money. So this full moon is really letting go of our fear of money, but really this fear of failure, right? This is the ancestor. This is what it's really about, the root of it all. We've just projected our fear. We've agreed as a collective that something has to hold that frequency on the planet. And so that's money. We've chosen that it's going to be money. So it's about transcending this fear. So you're growing and evolving, right? You're going for that banana. You're going to go for that banana, but something inside you is stopping you. And that's this fear of failure. It's like you're about to walk out. The cage door is open. You're about to walk out to your freedom, to your liberation as a human in this lifetime, but something's stopping you. What's stopping me? What's stopping me? Well, the mind is going to make up a lot of excuses what's stopping you. And one of them is going to be, I don't have enough money. How am I going to support myself? But you've got to go deeper into like, oh, this is my ancestral fear of failure. It has really nothing to do with money. This is what's stopping me, right? So letting go of that. And this one, just quickly, is the gate of duration. So it's about resources too, the 32. It's like conserving your resources. And that worked in the past through our ancestors. We're transcending, we're moving into a whole new species. That's what we have to remember. Like we're really ascending into a whole new species now. But we've got to deal with these ancient wounds, right? These ancient wounds. Within reason, like, you still have to look at your resources and things, and you're responsible, but you're listening to your intuition. You're not listening to this, right? These ancient fears. This is your animal self. Remember, there's 3 parts. There's the animal self, the human self, and then the angelic self. So you're transcending that. But there's a deep fear of failure. Right? So it's about adapting to change. What am I taking on this next leg of my journey? And then if we look up here, into the tarot, we've got definition. So this is a global transit. Everyone's going to feel that. And you see that there's definition. So we have to look at that. We've got Mars in the 62, and then we've got the North Node in the 17.3. So the 1762 is really interesting. So these centers, in case you don't know, this is the ajna. It's not your third eye, but it's your personal mind. And then that's the throat. And this is the throat, the 1762. So the 1762 is just like this water here. It's called the channel of acceptance. It's called the channel of acceptance, the 1762. And it's about how we organize our thinking. Okay, so the 17 rules the right eye. The 11 is the left eye, so the 17 is the right eye. So the 17 is bringing in all things visual. So seeing patterns, but it's really, it's like a gestalt, right? It's just taking it all in. And the 62 is what helps organize this visual imprinting, and then organizes it into words and language, and then you can express. So you can see what an important channel this has been for humanity. So this is what gives voice to opinions. The 17 is all about opinions. It's the gate of opinions. And the 62 is the gate of details. So this is the mind, how the mind works. It's busy organizing details, what it sees. And that is trying to fit how your mind works. It's trying to fit, right? It's trying to fit all those details and how it fits with my worldview and my perception of the world. How does it fit? No, that doesn't fit. This doesn't fit, so I'm not going to take it in. I'm going to take this and this and this. And it's about organizing your world, your inner world, in a sense. So this is really telling us that we're going to see a lot of people communicating their opinions. Now, the shadow of this is like I have the 17 natally. I don't have the 62. But the shadow is the fear of that I'll be challenged. I'll be challenged by my opinions, right? My opinions. So I won't bother speaking. But you've got the 62 there, so there's going to be a pressure from the throat chakra to speak. What you see. So the other thing is why we say, like, I don't understand you. What does I don't understand you mean? Like, really, what does that mean? It means that I can't put you in this worldview that I have. You're not fitting in to the box that I have, this box that I live in. You're not fitting in here. I don't. My mind doesn't know where to put you, right? To make sense of you. So that's what that truly means. So it's really about giving names. The 62. The 62 is also called the gate of the matrix, right? And just think of it when you're a kid, you're told what things are. That's a tree, that's a car, that's a dog, right? That's this, that's that. Devoid of any meaning. That's the matrix. I'm naming things, right? Out in the matrix. And so that just, right? It's just like you're not really present. Oh, that's a tree. Do you really see that tree? No, it's just a tree, right? It's just this image in my mind that I'm calling a tree. And that we all agree on that, these names. And that's what indoctrination is about, our school system. Okay, what other notes that I have here that I put down? Okay, so there's a relief. So the pressure that you feel with this full moon, so it's going to be pressurizing you to speak. If you're someone that's not, censors yourself a lot, you don't tell people, you don't explain to people what you see. Remember, we all have our own unique point of view, right? That my point of view is going to be different than your point of view, and so on and so on. And so we're here. That's what it means to be human, is we communicate with one another. That's our relationship with one another, is the 1762. So if you're somebody that doesn't speak what you see, doesn't speak your opinions, then you're going to feel this pressure to speak, right? For this full moon. And as soon as you start speaking, you'll feel a relief. You'll feel this relief in your throat chakra because you're speaking. You're supposed to be speaking what you see. We're supposed to be sharing and learning, right, from one another. And this is how we understand, right? So this is the 17. The 17 there is in the third line, and the keynote here is understanding. It's understanding. So this is how we understand one another, is we speak our point of view. We speak what we see and what's going on inside of us. And the only way that we can truly come to understanding as a humanity is when it's en masse, right? It's en masse. And this means the 62.3, right? That which Mars is in, the 62.3. This is details. It's the gate of details. So we're not going to come to that understanding until we have logic, right? Logic. So the logic is, I see a pattern, right? The 1762 is all about the future. I see this pattern. And we love patterns as a humanity. Collectively, we jump for joy when we know, oh, I can depend on this. I can depend if I go to school and I go to university and I get my degree that I'll get a good job and everything will be hunky-dory, right? We love those patterns, but these patterns are breaking down now. Now we need new patterns. We need new patterns, right? As we move into the unknown, So together as a humanity, we have to have this understanding to all en masse. So I was just like meditating on that with before the printing press. Remember with I can't think, my words aren't coming to me today. The Protestant Reformation. Before that, the Bible was only studied by the elites, the priests, the oligarchs, the higher ups, the monarchs, right? The plebeians and the common people, they didn't know how to read Latin. They didn't know how to read Latin. They didn't know how to read and write. The literacy rate was way, way down. But anyway, Martin Luther was the one who translated the Bible into common English, or German, so that that the common people could understand. And there's that understanding. And then came the printing press. So it's all about our mutation, the evolution that we're going through has a lot to do with information, but it has a lot to do with understanding. So the printing press really was wide, reached many, many people, right? And this completely changed the consciousness of humanity, right? And then look where we are now, our internet, that's printing press on steroids. So this is how this information and this understanding will come about for the mutation of humanity. And it requires understanding. It requires details and logic. So the thing to remember too, because this is third line, right? They're both third lines, the 17.3 and the 62.3. This is communication. So one thing that can stop you from communicating your opinions and what you see is a fear of mistakes, right? Fear of mistakes. And mistakes get a really bad rap on our planet. To make a mistake is to fail. That's that 32, right? To make a mistake is to fail. But you have to remember, this is communicating. It's not taking action. It's just talking. It's communicating. So people communicate what they see and their opinions. And then somebody else can challenge and say, well, what have you thought about this? Right? And it's like, okay, let's start again. We'll start the process all over again, and let's go through this again. Oh, what about this? And over and over and over and over again until you get to the truth, right? Till you get to the truth. Because if you look at the 62, remember you always have to look at the opposite on the wheel. The programming partner of the 62 is the 61. That's up here. It's not activated. But the 61 is inner truth, right? So that's the only way that you can get to inner truth is through the details and communicating the details. And then finally, you don't make mistakes, you make discoveries. And then you discover the inner truth together. So just keep that in mind. Nobody's going to die because you're talking. You're not going to die because you made a mistake in communication, right? That's not. So as a humanity, we're really blessed right now to be able to make discoveries through communication. And you look at the forces outside, because we always have the duality, right? The forces outside are pushing for censorship because they want to stop this information sharing, right? So there's no such thing as misinformation. It's just it's a mistake. We're discovering the truth together. As a humanity, we're discovering the truth together. You can even take that to your relationships. Yogi Bhajan used to say every couple should have a good fight every Sunday, right? I loved in my relationships having a good fight. Not like physical fighting, but arguing. Like arguing because you got to the truth. That's what I really appreciated. It's like, let's go through this process and we'll get to the truth. Like, what's the truth here? The inner truth, right? And it was so healing. It was so healing. So this can come with mental anxiety, right? Mental anxiety, a lot of mental anxiety, because you fear being misunderstood. You don't feel, you fear not, somebody's not going to understand you. Another thing. Okay. Okay, let's keep going. And look at this Four of Wands again. So in terms of the tarot, this is the decan. So the third decan of Aries for the full moon correlates to the Four of Wands. There's 42.5, 42.5 here. Right, so if you break this down, this is Venus and Aries. Venus and Aries, the Four of Wands. So there's Venus as the Empress. And there's Aries, which is the Emperor. So there you go, 3 and 4. These are the major arcanas. And this is why this is called the Twin Flame cards, because it's your divine counterpart. One is the divine masculine and one is the divine feminine. But remember, you want to bring it back to yourself, and that we're coming into union. Our divine masculine energy is coming into union with our divine feminine energy. And this is the solar plexus mutation. Right here is what is happening. So these two energies inside of us, doesn't matter what form you were incarnated in, they come together and they conceive, in a sense, like spiritually conceive. And they conceive the divine child. And that's your wounded inner child, right? Becomes the divine child. And that's the heart opening. The sacred heart starts to open permanently. And that would be Christ. Christ did it. The Christ consciousness, right, comes through. So this is good. This is a good sign here with the Four of Wands here. So stability, the Four of Wands. This is coming home to the heart, because this represents the home in tarot. But really your true home, your spiritual home, is your own heart. And the only way to get there is to embrace these two energies, which I talked about before in terms of the divine masculine is you're able to stand up for yourself. You have self-value. You have self-worth. You're able to protect, right? Protect yourself. Protect yourself in that sense. Energetically protect yourself. Take action when appropriate, when it's coming from your feminine. It's not coming from your mind. If you have the masculine that's working from your mind, it's not in power. It's not empowered. It's a wounded masculine. So it has to be connected to this divine feminine, right? And the divine feminine cannot be connected to her mind, right? She can't be connected to her mind in that sense of the word. Either her ego. She's receptive. She's love. It's all about love and nurturing. This is like mothering yourself. This is the divine father and divine mother here too, the emperor and the empress. So this is the potential, and it's about prosperity too, the empress. So the fear of money, the empress doesn't have fear of money because she knows she magnetizes everything to her, right? She magnetizes everything to her, right? And then you've got the divine masculine that has the self-confidence to take action when he needs to, right? But it's coming from the divine feminine to take action with those resources. So it's not about going and getting. Do you know what I mean? Hustle and hassle. Now, in this new cross of the Sleeping Phoenix, it's about really trusting, especially the generators and the MGs, to respond. Like the MGs and the Gs should really be embracing this Empress energy, right? That all of us, actually, all the types, but having something to respond to. You've got to be there, right? If you're in your masculine as an MG and a G, and you're trying to go get, and you're busy, and you're trying to make things happen, and you're trying to pretend you're a manifester, then who's home magnetizing? There's nobody here magnetizing, right? There's nobody there. You're not on your throne. She's on her throne, just waiting for something to respond to. And that means trusting, like full trust. And then trust that you will act. When you hear those intuitive messages, then your divine masculine kicks in. And then it's like, okay, it's time to act from this place. But I'm really acting from a place of self-love, right? So this full moon is about letting go of what is not aligned with your Empress and Emperor energy, and coming so that you can come fully into the Four of Wands energy. And that's home, coming home to the heart, right? Yeah. Okay. So that would be if you were, I'm just thinking if he's Aries, right? And she's Venus, which rules Taurus and Libra. But Aries, if you think of an unconscious, asleep Aries, they're the ram. They just ram, shoot and ask questions later. They're impulsive and instinctual. That would be a negative form of, and I'm not talking about like evolved Aries. I'm talking about unevolved Aries, just to look at them as a symbol. So that would be the negative masculine, because they're not in touch with the feminine. They're completely in their instinct, right? Yeah. Okay. Let me see if there's any questions or comments, and then we'll go off to the readings. Already 40 minutes. Okay. Okay. Somebody has a question here. Let me get up here. Okay. Satnam. Okay. Yes, please like my video. Please like my video. Thank you. Okay. So Ripple Long here says, what'd you say here? What's the difference between the red or the black colored in? So that's natal. That's, you're talking about your natal chart. So the red side is your unconscious and the black side is your conscious, right? So that would never occur in a natal chart, what we're looking at. Okay. Okay, Evolving Beyond, just answer that too. Okay. Yes, the matrix is falling because of this Capricorn, Pluto. Pluto completely destroys and dismantles, but it doesn't like annihilate. It's just making room for a regeneration to happen, like a rebirth to happen. So that's what we're seeing. Capricorn rules the matrix, right? Everything is shifting really, really fast. And Pluto going direct, we're going to really start to feel it now. Okay. So Collagen Babe, question. If the centers are colored in and if our centers are undefined during transit, is it activated? So if the centers are colored in and if our centers are undefined, and if our... Yes. So that's the thing with doing a general report, that I can't get too specific with your natal chart, but this, everybody's going to feel this transit because both are colored in. You see? Both are colored in, so that means everybody's going to feel it. Now, in terms of this one with the full moon, then the 53, if you have the 53 natally, or the 3, or the not or yeah, it would be, if you had the 3 or the 53, then it would activate the 42. It would activate your 42. And then the 32, it would be, you would need the 54, the 38, or the 58. And it would activate these. But we're all going to feel this one. But also keep in mind that you could be like out and having dinner or something, and somebody in that room, somebody in that restaurant will have these, and they'll hook you up. That's why you feel so different when you're in crowds, right? That's why people love to be in crowds, right? Because it's hooking them up. They're hooking up all their centers. Okay. Okay. Let's do this again. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's always spot on. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I have the 3. I'll put it on 18. And what I would say too, with this transit, don't take things personally. Right? Don't take things personally. Right? Look at it. It's not hooked up to any motor or anything. It's just the mind and the throat. I'm throwing out an opinion. That's all it is. Right? But this is going to be defined. And if you have this definition, right? If you have an undefined ajna center, you're not here to be mentally certain. So you want to watch this. This is only for a while. This transit is only for a while. But it is activated for the next moon cycle, because it's an imprint, right, for the next moon cycle, to watch this, right? Don't take things personally. It's just, somebody, that's just an opinion. It's not gospel, right? We're just discovering, as a humanity, we're discovering the inner truth together. The truth has been hidden from us in the age of Pisces, right, for 2,000 years. And now we're moving into the age of truth, but we have to find it together. We have to discover. That's our big word, is we have to discover it together and through communication. Okay, so let's go to this. And I just want to remind people, Human Design Inner Child, the Inner Child Online Retreat, November 1st to the 3rd. What is all this about, and what does it have to do with human design? Everything, because this is all about letting go of not self. Not self. And not self, why is not self so challenging to let go of? Because the conditioning starts in childhood, from that 0 to 7 years old, right? That not self identity gets there. We're like blank slates from 0 to 7 years old. So this is all about letting go of not self, working with the emotional body, because that's the glue that keeps the not self identity in and so difficult to let go of and just operate as yourself, right? It's all there in the 0 to 7. So keep that in mind. Okay, so let's talk about the twin flames first. Okay, and where we go. Okay, so there's the twin flames here. I also want to remind people that I did a relationship reading for Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, the 2 artists from Mexico, and part 1, and that's going to drop tomorrow around this time. So be sure to check that out. It's already up, ready to drop tomorrow. Okay, and one of the questions was like, were these 2 twin flames, right? So to look at the chart, very fascinating stuff. Okay. So the question on the table for the twin flames, and remember the twin flames, if we go back to the tarot card for this full moon, which is the 4 of Wands, this is the twin flame card. You see that? The 11-11, 11-11. And if you break down the 4 of Wands, it's Venus and Aries. And this is your divine counterpart, right? The Emperor and the Empress. So that's why the 4 of Wands is the twin flame card here. So it's all about coming into unity, It's all about coming into unity. That's what the twin flame journey is. So it's not you and your partner coming into unity, but you coming into unity within yourself. You coming into unity with your Empress energy and your Emperor energy. And these two come together and the solar plexus mutation happens and the divine child is born from the Empress and the Emperor. The spiritual divine child, and that's Christ consciousness. That's Christ consciousness. And that's the permanent opening of the heart. Right? So if we go back here with the ego cards, so remember that there's the chaser. There's a chaser on one side. This is the polarity of the soul that splits for separation to heal. Both parties have to heal. So that's the chaser, and there's the runner. And they're called that because it seems like one of them is chasing the relationship, and it seems the other one's running from the connection, right? Running from the connection. Okay, but they're both just on their own individual journeys in separation. So the ego card, so this is for the full moon, right? So this is letting go, because it's activating the 42nd gate up here, the 42nd gate. And this is all about endings. This is about endings. It's about ending a cycle. Some kind of cycle is ending for this full moon. And I want to remind the twin flames that Pluto and Capricorn went direct today, and it's motoring for Pluto, right? Because it's the 29th degree towards Aquarius for the next 20 years, and that happens November 18th. So you want to finish up your Capricorn lessons, wherever that falls in your chart. Whatever you've been working on since 2008 is coming to an ending. Okay, so if we go to the card for the chaser, it's the unlearning, right? It's unlearning. So it's unlearning what you learned. Right? And there's lots of that. So unlearning what you learned, right? What you learned. And this is your conditioning. This is what your conditioning is. So in terms of human design, that's what this is about, right? My online retreats are all about letting go of the not self. Right? So this is your ego death, you could call that. These are identities that are not authentic to you. The not self has to go. And part of that process is on learning what you learned, letting go of your conditioning. So you're unlearning something, right? So it could be beliefs, right? Belief patterns that you have, that you've inherited from your ancestry. You may not even know that they're in there, right? And it's going to be because the 42 is the programming partner of the 32. If we go back here, right, there's the 32 and the 42. These are programming partners. The 32 is money, right? And that's ancestral fear of survival, right? It's the shadow of failure. So you want to watch the beginning of this video, or you want to watch the larger live stream if you're watching just the twin flame video. So letting go of fear, what you learned around money, what you learned around money. Maybe you've got belief systems about that, right? So old beliefs that you've inherited, okay? And then look what we have here. I want to just go through these, and then we'll bring the wrap up. That's the Empress card. There's the Empress card there. So that goes back to this. Goes back to the Four of Wands energy. That's one part of it. So the chaser's got one part of it down. So this is what's hidden from you. Okay? Hidden from you. And what does this say? It means that you've been working very, very hard on your own inner work to get to this place, to have unity with your divine feminine. Major work, right? Major self-love, major nurturing, major focusing only on yourself and loving yourself, right? Going into that abundance nature, being okay with yourself. That's been hidden. That's hidden from you. Maybe you don't know this, right? So anything back to the unlearning is like to let go of anything that's not aligned with this Empress energy for you. Like what's no longer in alignment with the Empress. So the divine feminine energy within you will keep expanding and growing, and it's going to be really easy to see like, no, this is not aligned with me anymore. It's not aligned with my sense of self-love, or this person isn't aligned with my sense of self-worth and self-love. It's going to be very, very apparent. So this is the unlearning. So the unlearning of the belief system could be, well, if I say no to somebody, then I'm not nice. I'm not a good person if I say no to somebody, right? Without a really good reason, right? So unlearning that, unlearning things like that you've taken on from your ancestors, So to me, it's like to remember that the Empress is like I'm a magnet. I'm attracting everything to me. It's Venus, right? Venus is self-worth, net worth, right? Having self-worth is connected to your net worth, which means you'll attract all the resources that you need as long as you stay relaxed and trusting and expanded in that energy space. So the advice, it's really interesting, is the Nine of Pentacles. The Nine of Pentacles, right there. Let me see that well. The Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles is kind of the Empress in waiting, right? The Empress in waiting. So this too is about, like, the Empress is the ultimate love in the deck, in the tarot deck. But the Nine of Pentacles is Empress in waiting. And being okay with yourself, taking care of yourself materially, because it's Pentacles. This says your guidance is to receive, because the Empress is all about receiving. So receiving material resources that you need. It's about success. And look at that. That's the complete opposite of the full moon, which is letting go of failure. And this is your ancestors, right? Because you're walking away from the tribe, those tribal beliefs that you have. And we're letting go of tribal consciousness now. We're moving more into the individual consciousness for the sleeping phoenix and collective, individual and collective. So letting go of that and being self-sufficient, self-reliant. This is definitely sleeping phoenix energy. And yeah, and being independent and okay with that. So letting go, again, it's letting go of anything that's not aligned with these two cards. These two cards are very much a match. It's saying that you can take care of yourself. So if you're single and not in a partnership, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Do you need the twin? No, you don't need the twin. You're the main course, right? Nine of Pentacles Empress is I'm the main course. And the dessert is the twin flame. Right? I'll survive without twin flame union. I'm okay. I got this. Everything's great, right? But the dessert, yeah, sure. We all enjoy dessert, but we don't need it. So that's what this is saying here. And then let me do the animal. Do I want to do the animal card now? So the animal card that I picked for the chaser is the fish. There's the fish. So that's the water element. That makes sense. Because remember that the chasers are evolving through the emotional body, the water element. Okay, I just got it here. So I'm not familiar with this deck yet. Got to work with it more. But I like to use it. So the fish can be restless. Right, restlessness. Change of focus, lost in the current. So the fish loves to be subsumed in life's current. Nothing pleases it more than movement. The roaming lifestyle of the fish may be exhilarating for a while, but usually leads to weariness and slippery relationships. With all the possibilities there in the vast waters, the fish becomes lost without clear goals and intentions. Spend time with the lunar forces. Lunar forces. So this full moon, spend some time there, and in peace and calm of the moon will soothe your soul. So when in balance, adaptable. So that fits with the full moon theme too, about being flexible with change. Travels well. When out of balance, distract it. Changes your mind often. Mind gets changed often. So this could be doubt, like maybe doubt coming into, like this twin flame connection. Is it a delusion? Am I crazy? Because there's not, the way that it's orchestrated is you're not going to get the proof out on the external. That's not the lesson. The lesson is complete trust in the soul and the divine. So bring into balance is to set a small goal and accomplish it. Set a small goal and accomplishment. And maybe your goal is to unlearn something, right? For this full moon. What's something that I took on that's not aligned with this Empress and Nine of Pentacles energy, and then I'm going to let it go for the full moon. Maybe that's your goal, your goal. And to watch distractions. Okay. So let's go to the runner. And the ego that the runner's working on. So the chaser's letting go of conditioning, mind. And then there's that. You can't see that because it's a mirror. It's mirrored my image here. Self-love is selfish. That's what the ego is telling you. Self-love is selfish. Okay. So it's wrong. Right, so this is a belief system too. These can work together, can't they? Unlearning, and then self-love is selfish because that's a belief system that needs to be unlearned. So somebody taught the runner that, right? That it's wrong to love and care for yourself. So as soon as you have that belief system, you're at the mercy of other people, other egos that can take advantage of you. And you're out of your power when you don't take care of your own needs. And I want to remind people, one of the themes for the Sleeping Phoenix is the 55.6. And the keynote here is selfishness. So this is 2027 and beyond. This theme kicks in. And so this is divine selfishness, right? Divine selfishness. It's not egoic selfishness, where it's I don't consider other people. It's all about me. Screw them. It doesn't matter if I hurt them or harm them. When you're in divine selfishness, everybody wins. Because the divine is not going to tell you to do something that harms somebody. The divine might tell you to do something that the other person has a spiritual lesson by, right? With their ego getting triggered. Maybe that will happen. But divine selfishness is win-win for everybody, right? So this is listening to your intuition, right? Listening to your intuition. It's like checking in, maybe, and this is where you can use your strategy and authority in human design, is check in with your sacral if you're a G or an MG. It's like, is this correct for me to go to this party? Like checking in, even with your intuition. It's like, I'm tired. I just want to stay home. I just want to be with myself. I haven't had really much time to myself, and I want to do some writing and just be alone and just, right? And just rest for a while. Things like that. Well, it's going to serve everybody. When you love yourself, it serves everyone. Remember with that 42 and the 32, the full moon themes, when you do something like that's coming from divine love, then all of humanity benefits, right? Because we're all connected. On the energetic level, everybody benefits. Okay, so this is a belief system that you have to let go of, that when I love myself, it's selfish. That's not true, right? When I love myself, it serves not only me, but everybody around me. The only ones that are going to be opposed to that are in their egos, and they're playing the same game, right? Okay, and they'll just project onto you. So you have to let that go, like not take on that projection. And then you're out of your power, because then the behavior is coming from outside of you. Well, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that, and that's selfish. And you're out of your power. You're not listening to your intuition and your divine guidance. Okay, so what don't you see is this, and this is the victory card, the Six of Wands. So what are you unaware of? Okay, you're unaware of victory. This is the victory card. This is attention, getting attention. So this to me is when you love yourself, that it brings victory. Just like the runner, when you unlearn your conditioning, let go of your conditioning, you go more and more into the Empress energy. As you really embrace loving and nurturing yourself, like you putting your needs first, not everybody else around you that's like in crisis or chaos, but actually tuning into your own self, not what I should do, but tuning into yourself. And it's like, okay, what do I need right now? And your soul will communicate that to you. Well, that's saying victory, right? Six of Wands, that's victory. And you're moving, remember, we have to look at the Five of Wands, because the six comes after it. Five of Wands, you're all in conflict. Conflict with yourself, conflict with others, right? That would fit with this self-love is selfish. You're moving into the Six of Wands, which is victory, right? Victory. And that's what you want, right? That I've accomplished something. I've let this go. I've let this go. So this says that the runners have also been doing their work. That's what this is telling me here, that they have a victory for this full moon that's coming, to do more and more of putting themselves first, big S self first, not putting their ego first, but their big S self first. Yeah, that's very, very positive. And what else about victory? So success. There's another success card, right? Because the one of the themes this full moon is failure. It's failure. So there's the success. And so trusting, because some people go to, if they go to completely logical, they go into their logical brain, and they're like, what was I going to say? With the 6217, the channel of acceptance, like that changing now, like future patterns. And the future patterns would be, well, if I do this and I do that and I do that, then I make money. Right? This logical, linear, focused, strategic approach to life, that's breaking down for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. Right? So if you say something, well, you need to love yourself, that's the problem. People don't want to go there. They want to go, no, it's a money problem. It's a money problem. I have to do this and I have to do that. They're looking at life in a very surface way, and they're looking back to the past, that this is how it used to work. It's not working anymore like this. And we're going to find this more and more. The old ways will stop working. They're stopped working, right? It's going to become more and more apparent. So something like this is like, well, if you give them the advice, well, I think you need to love yourself, right? You need to love yourself more and take care of yourself better. And that will attract more the material resources that you need. It doesn't make sense to the logical mind, but that we're looking at things in a spiritual way now. We're looking at things in an in-depth way, right? So also, too, the runner has to get into this Empress energy. Even if they're the divine, the masculine, they're playing that part. It's about union. It's about union. You have to bring your divine feminine and divine masculine in unity within you. And the same thing with the chaser. Okay, and that will bring you victory. That's going to bring you victory and success, right? And recognition, especially if you're a projector runner too. And then the advice is the Fool card. And this is a brand new beginning. It's back to zero, back to the very, very start to begin a whole new cycle. So beginnings, freedom, being in that innocence, right? Adventure, ready for an adventure, going back to zero. So that makes sense, right? With the full moon is about ending. With the 42 is about ending. I'm ending a cycle and I'm beginning a whole new cycle. But the runners have to learn this lesson of putting themselves first, of loving themselves first, right? And this means their divine self. So we have the twin flame connection, but this isn't the most important person in your life. Your relationship is not, the end all be all is just to be with my twin flame. Your number one relationship is with your divine self, That's number one. Until you've got that, you'll be haunted. You'll be going through suffering and struggling with the twin flame. But this is the real juice. This is worth the squeeze right here. It's worth the squeeze. My number one relationship is with my divine self first. Then, right? And then others in my life accordingly, right? So, that's what both parties are learning. So the runners got to learn this lesson of putting their divine self first and trusting what that divine self is telling them in terms of their intuition, not listening to the mind and the ego, right? And that's going to bring you victory and bring you on this brand new adventure, this new path that the cycle is ending for this full moon. And then the Phoenix. Very powerful card. There's the Phoenix. And remember the 400-year cycle that we're entering is the sleeping Phoenix. Cross the planning's ending, and now it's the awakening, the rising of the Phoenix. And this is in the spirit. So I'm going to just read from here. Okay. Phoenix. So freedom from suffering and past karma for the runners, reincarnation. So the Phoenix represents the transformation of our past. It doesn't mean running away from it, denying it, or burning down bridges with rage. The Phoenix employs an advanced technique described in yoga as the burning of impurities through practice and dedication. Tapas. I think this woman's a yogi. Yeah, inner heat. The essence of Phoenix is within us when we realize we have been suffering too long and something must change. We take a stand and decide to live consciously instead of being driven by the unconscious mind and its long list of fears and aversions. So this could be your ancestral fears that you're letting go of, runners, right? That's the theme of this full moon. And at that very moment, the spark of the Phoenix, I'm done. The spark of the Phoenix gets lit up. And the great bird helps us burn through our baggage. We no longer run from who we are, what has happened to us, or what we have done. The stuckness and dead weight fall into the ashes, and a lightness and clarity emerge. As the stagnancy continues to smolder, the Phoenix lifts our spirits up and up, and we begin to recognize ourselves again. We may catch a glimmer in our eye that wasn't there before, and look closely. It's a sign the fire of transformation is upon your wings. Very, very positive. So this is amazing transformation here. But what that card is saying, that you have to go and say, this is it. This is it. I'm done living like this. Right? I'm done half dead. I'm half dead. Am I supposed to be living without passion? Right? Am I supposed to be living without love? Like real love? right? Am I supposed to be, that's not the way. The phoenix is like got the paddles on you, right? Resurrecting you, bringing you back to life, And that's the Fool energy. But it takes, runners, for you to be loving yourself up first. Put your divinity first. Love yourself up first. That's what the divine wants from you, right? And then look at the overall energy, which fits, eh? And that's the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands. This is interesting because this was a major theme in the Human Design Inner Team online retreat this weekend. So this is letting go of burdens, duty, stress, right? That's all this. I'm putting I'm putting everybody else top priority, not myself. And it's like, the 10 of Wands, right? I got to carry this, these obligations and struggles. And I'm just going to let them down. I'm going to let them down for this full moon, right? So maybe you did have to care. Let's not make this wrong. Maybe you did have to carry these burdens. Maybe this was your karma, but it's ending. It's the 42, right? It's ending. It's coming to an ending. So it's about, the Phoenix is saying, throw those 10 wands into the fire, right? Throw them into the fire. They're burning, right? They're burning. It's time for liftoff. Yeah. Okay. So it's about freedom, right? I release the burdens. This is both for runner and chaser. I'm releasing the burdens of my conditioning, right? Distractions, right? And then for the chasers, I'm releasing this, putting everybody else before my own needs and my own divinity. Trying to people please. I'm surprised we didn't get the people pleaser card. Okay, so that's the twin flame. And check out the Frida Kahlo Diego relationship report, part 1. And that's going to drop on Saturday, October 12th, around 3:30 Hawaiian Standard Time. Okay. Okay. So let's go for the generators here. Generators. Okay. Thank you for liking my video, and let me know if you're a generator. We're talking about the full moon that's activating the 42nd gate down here, and this is all about endings. This is all about detaching, right? The shadow of the 42 is expectation, letting go of expectations of what my life should look like and how much money I should be making. And of course, we're filled with disappointment, right? So this is about detachment. That's a big theme here, is detachment. The 1762, people are going to be talking about their opinions and what's wrong and what's right with the world and how it needs to be corrected, and you want to not take it personally. So that's detachment. Okay? So there's the 32, which is the fear. This is ancestral fear of not having enough coin, right? But it's really about not surviving, like physical survival. So we're letting go of a lot of stuff this full moon. And I'm going to pick some cards here. And these are generators. The full moon activates, there's the 42.5, it's activating the 4 of Wands. That's the third decan of Aries or Libra. Aries. And this breaks down the Venus, which is the Empress and Major Arcana, and Aries, which is the Emperor. So this are masculine and feminine energies. And you can watch the beginning of the video to learn a little bit more about that. Okay. So let me know too if you're living in Florida or the Carolinas, Or Wyoming too. And how you're doing. Okay. 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 Okay, so this is for the generators. This is for the generators. It's for the generators. A bit closer here. What do the generators need to know for this full moon? What's the ego? What's the ego trap? The generators. What's the generators? For our generator friends, what's the ego trap? Okay. What's the guidance for the generators, please? Okay. Okay, the generators. So you got the competition card. That's the ego cards, competition. And 2 fell out. The money temptation card, no surprise there. And then the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Wands. Okay. Okay. So competition, that's something that we have to let go of. We have to let go. And we're talking unhealthy competition. Believing that you're not enough as you are. And it has to do with money, right? With money, the 32 and the 42. That this dynamic for the generators needs to be dissolved, needs to be transcended. So it's really built on the egos, pride and fear. Pride and fear is competition. And underneath all of this is a deep sense of inadequacy, right? With this competition, feeling like you need to compete with others. So we've been conditioned, right? We've been conditioned as humanity that we need to compete. We need to compete for to earn our way through life, right? As a species, we need to compete with one another, right? So this, if you look at it, so we're conditioned to do this, but you want to do your own personal work. You want to go deeper, generators, with this. And it really comes from a lack of bonding in your family. A lack of bonding in your family. So if you have a sibling, that's where this starts, where you're competing with your sibling for love, right? It's built on scarcity consciousness, right? Competition. That there's not enough for everybody, right? That's the belief. So you want to look at this Because competition, it never ends with the ego, because there's always going to be somebody that's better than you, then there's always going to be somebody lower than you. That's the hierarchy that's coming to an end with Pluto and Pluto moving into Aquarius, November 18th and onward. And then this has to do with money. There's the money temptation card. So money temptation. So you have to watch this. If you find yourself in this energy, like, oh, I have to compete. And you'll know because of your body, you'll feel this like restlessness in your body. This is what I talked about with Pluto in the 60, right? Feeling limited. Maybe you're feeling limited by money right now, right? Pluto's in the 60. This is the gate of acceptance. It's about accepting your limitations. Wherever your limitations are in your life right now, you're not going to be banging your head against them, especially if they're external. Now, if you have an internal limitation, that's a different story, like some belief system that you have that's keeping you small. These are external limitations, right? So it's going to have to do with competition. I've got to compete with somebody. I got to get my resume in. I got to hustle and hassle, get there first because of money, right? So what's the money temptation? We all have to face the money temptation. And this is like, I promise security. Deals with this 42. Promises security and safety, right, for you. And it's false. We don't know what this is going to look like. This is just a thing out in the external world that we put a bunch of meaning upon it. It's a projection by humanity, right? It's basically holds the frequency of fear on the planet, is money. So we don't know what it's going to look like, this exchange for goods and services. We don't know, right? So this could be a real temptation for you where you bypass your sacral. Well, I'm not listening to that thing grunting at me, yes or no, as a generator, telling me where I'm supposed to be and not supposed to be, what relationship I'm supposed to be in and what not relationship I'm supposed to be in. I'm going to fall for this money. This is the not self trap. This is a huge trap. Well, I'll just take this job for a while and I'll do what I really want to do down the road, right? Down the road never happens. Down the road is like you're there for, you hear this from people. You're there forever and you don't really do what you're supposed to do, what you've come here to do on this planet. So it's around competition. So it's saying to follow your heart, right? So the great thing about the 17, right? The 17 here in the North Node is the gift of farsightedness. Right? It's about having the mountain view of the world, the big picture. It's like looking at the big picture. So yeah, that's what I would say to the generators right now. It's like really look at the big picture. Look at the time you're in right now. This is not about your ancestors speaking through you through fear and your cellular memory that, oh no, you got to keep this job and you got to go for this. That's lots of money. You'll be safe. You'll be secure. Anything promising safety and security right now is the opposite. Like your danger bells should be going, your spidey senses should be going off. Like there's something off with this. You want to elevate your perspective. That's what the 1762 is saying too, to the big picture, the elevated picture, and not get trapped. These are low vibration, low frequency. There's no trust in the divine here. None whatsoever. The ego will never tell you got to trust the divine unless it's like, no, like look like you trust the divine, right? Wear these kinds of clothes and speak like this and eat these foods. Like it's all surface. The ego is all about image. It's not about real depth. Because if it's about real depth, then the ego can't exist. It can't exist in those higher frequency places, right? So this is about having faith in the divine and transcending these old patterns, generators. Because remember, generators, that you're transmuting the archetype of the slave right now. The archetype of the slave, it's an archetype. And the archetype is that everybody makes my decisions for me There's no such thing as freedom, right? That's just how the world works. Everyone has access to my energy, right? They just throw a couple dollars at me and they've got access to my life force energy. There's no life without the generators and the MGs on this planet. And now you're learning this, the Seven of Wands, right? This is about boundaries. It's about setting a boundary. And it's also about knowing your worth, right? Knowing your worth, your self-worth. Knowing that this energy is precious and it's your energy. You get to use it however you see fit. Nobody has access to your energy. Right? So this is standing up for yourself. It's about protecting yourself. Right? And not get caught up in these low vibe frequencies that you got to compete and you got to hustle and hassle and you got to, somebody dangles a carrot in terms of a lot of money in front of you, not to take it. Right? Don't fall for the trap. So what I would say as a generator is to go to your sacral. We're just talking strategy here. Go to your sacral. That's your safety, is to listen to that sacral with a yes or no. And it may say no. Your sacral may say no to that money trap, and you want to trust it. And your mind will be like, no, you've got to compete. There's other people that want that. You better grab it. You better blah, 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 blah. If you're in that panicking energy, you're not in your sacral. You're not in your sacral. So that's what I would say with the Seven of Wands, right? Is to have courage. To have courage to say no. And then at the same time, maybe money will come to, well, you got this card, so I'm not gonna go there, right? So it's about trusting the divine. You don't chase anything. You respond with a yes or no, and then knowing and trusting that the divine will bring the resources to you. Okay. Anything else for the... Well, and it's the fifth line, right? So it's about adapting. So being flexible and adapting. Okay. Let's go. You know what I would love to see in the future? If somebody, and I'm sure that there's somebody smart enough out in the world that can make weed whackers noise free. Do you think they could? I think all these little annoying machines could be made like quiet. Yeah, once we value quiet in our world. There's somebody with a weed whacker out now. Okay, so that's the generators. So let's go to the MGs. Okay, there we go. So let's go to the manifesting generators. Okay. So manifesting generators, this is a reading for the full moon. And it's about letting go, releasing, but even more so. It's like a double signature of releasing and letting go, because it's activating the 42nd gate up here with the 32. These are programming partners. So 32 is their ancient fear. Comes from our cellular memory, and the fear is failure, that we won't survive. In our modern world, this translates to not having enough money, feeling like we don't have enough money. And so the 42 in the moon position is about an ending. Something is ending for you. A cycle is ending for the manifesting generators. And it's about a deep let go, right? So 42 is like there's an ending. The cycle is ending. And it's the gift of preservation. So it's like what has life right now? What has energy in my life? What has energy and what's decaying and dying? Right? So also keep in mind that Pluto is gone direct as of today, October 11th, and it's moving on to Aquarius for the next 20 years. So this also is another indication that things are ending, like there's endings. So it's about embracing endings, and it's looking towards the future. That's what the 1762 is saying too. It's like to look towards the future. Take an elevated view of your life right now, where you want to go. See the patterns, right? See the patterns. Trust. The other thing I want to say too, which I didn't talk about, is it's motivated because every chart has a motivation. So the motivation is fear here. That means that this global cycle is going to bring up a lot of fear for people, right? So in terms of the 32, is the mind projects, makes a story. Here's neutrally, you're just feeling fear. And what is fear? It's a frequency in your body. That's all it is a frequency. It's coming from your ancestors because of the 32, right? Fifth line. So there's a frequency in your body, and where you need to stop in its tracks, the mind and the ego making up a story about this fear frequency. And the story could be, there's not enough. There's going to be a lot of, there's not enough, right? There's a story. There's not enough money story. There's not enough love story, not enough time, not enough health and vitality, not enough relationships, whatever it is, right? You want to stop that in its tracks and not listen to the story, and you just feel. That's all you have to do is feel this fear, which means bring your awareness to your heart, relax, be still, and then let it move through you. Okay, so let's do some cards for the MGs, for the manifesting generators. Okay. What is the manifesting generators? What's the ego trap for the manifesting generators? Stay present. Stay present. Okay. And then what's the guidance? Just a reminder too, manifesting generators, that I did a relationship reading for Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera, part 1. It's going to drop tomorrow around this time. Okay. Okay, what's the guidance for the MGs? Okay. Okay. So the manifesting generators got the Judgment card. Judgment. And then the guidance is the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So for this, and it's funny, the shadow of Judgment is the 18 in the South Node. That's there. That's the shadow of Judgment here, the South Node. It's what we're letting go of, right? And embracing this North Node. It's also what we see out in the world, right? With the nodes, it's what we see out in the world. So if you look at your natal chart, those numbers are what you see out in the world. It's like your movie. But this is the global movie. The global movie is we're going to see a lot of opinionated people and judgmental people, right? So we're totally seeing that. Okay. So, as an MG, it's letting go of judgment. Letting go of judgment. And this is what the mind does. Because there's this whole thing in the spiritual community, well, you shouldn't be judgmental. The thing is, you can't stop that. You can't stop being judgmental, because that's what the mind does. The mind is judging. The mind is always judging. Is the mind you? Is that you? Are you your mind? No. Your mind is your tool. It's a tool. It's how you're perceiving reality right now, is through your mind, but it's not you. But if you meditate, right? If you meditate, then you're going to realize that, because it gives you a relationship between you and your mind. It gives you that detachment, right? That's the 42. The gift of detachment, so that you can see, oh, that's my mind judging, but that's not me. Where we get into trouble is when the ego attaches, and we think we're our ego, and our ego attaches to that judgment, right? And then we think it's us, and we think that it's true, right? And it's not. It's not. So what's happening here, if you look at, there's many ways to look at judgment, but intuitively, because it's failure, right? Failure, that's the shadow of failure. It means like I don't have enough money, right? I don't have enough money. I'm a failure. It's just the opposite of success. So you could be judging yourself. Judging yourself. And that's like, I should, right? The conditioning. I should be in this place in my life right now because I'm this age. I should be here. I should have this much money in my bank account. Because it's about the material, right? The material. And this is this ancient fear that you don't have enough, right? You're going to fail. You won't survive. That's coming through your cellular memory. So you don't want to attach to your judgments. And to get out of that is the Page of Pentacles, which is, to me, it's to be an MG, right? To be an MG. So to be an MG, because remember the manifesting generator is one part manifester, one part generator. So they're kind of a hybrid of the manifester and the generator. So of course you want to be responding with your sacral, yes or no. So life is going to bring you things. That's just how how your aura works. Life just brings you things, and then you respond with a yes or no from your sacral. And then as a manifesting generator, because you're a part manifester, is then you inform or share. Right? You inform or share who that response. So maybe your response is like you have an opportunity, this Page of Pentacles. So it's like, who's this going to affect? Who my response is yes. Who will this affect? And then I inform and share, right? And then I go back to my responding moment by moment. You don't initiate like a manifestor would, right? They initiate, you don't initiate. You go back to respond, back to response, back to response. So not judging, getting out of the mind. This is all this is saying. Like, don't go to your mind. Stay with your sacral. Trust your intuition. Trust your heart. Trust your sacral. Don't trust your mind, right? Because the mind, here's this opportunity. Maybe this beautiful opportunity comes to you, and your sacral's like, yes, yes, yes. It's aligned with your destiny. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Keep responding. Keep responding. But then that bully of a mind comes in, right, with its wet blanket. Well, that's not so good, right? That's not a great opportunity. What would people think of me if I did that, right? Well, it's not glamorous enough. It's not what my ego wants. My ego wants glamour and wants to be grandiose and wants to be the star or whatever, right? That's what the ego always wants, grandiosity. Grandiosity that's not aligned with who you really are, right? And then in comes the judgment, right? The wet blanket. The wet blanket goes right over your sacral, screaming yes, right? Yes, yes, yes. That's when you don't listen. You don't listen to the ego. You trust, right? You trust. You're ending the cycle. This judgment has kept you out of a lot of really wonderful opportunities in your past, right? It's time to let this go now and to listen to your sacral, listen to your intuition, listen to your heart, and then trust, right? And then move from this place and see what happens. Because this is all about discovery, right? You're making discoveries with the 62, right? Mars and the North Node, right? You're making, that's a third line. What does that say? You're making discoveries. You're making discoveries. So don't listen to your judging mind. The judging mind, your ancestors in the background, the choir of that. No, you didn't need to do this and that, the safe route. No, you're making discoveries now, right? You're on this journey of discovery and of trust. Okay, if I trust in the divine, where will it take me? It's taken me to a lot of crazy experiences I've had when I've trusted my divine in my heart, you know? So same for you. You don't know what the future's going to hold, right? It's time to transcend the fear, the ancestral fear, and to really put all your trust in the divine. Take all your trust out of money and the material and the safe route, right? The safe route. There's no such thing as a safe route now. And you want to come home, right? And coming home to the heart, the Four of Wands is coming home to the heart. Watch the beginning of my video to learn more about this. Okay. So let's go. Page of Pentacles is the student, right? Being loyal, grounded, studious, consistent, dependable. And these are the earth signs. This is Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo. It's the root chakra. It's the root chakra. So to me, this is saying that you can figure it out as you go with response, step by step by step by step, and you'll figure it out. So the new cycle is being a student. So the best student is the student of life with making these discoveries, right? I'm a student of life. I'm learning through my experiences. The MG. Okay. Okay. So this is also saying not to procrastinate. Procrastination is very linked to perfectionism, and that's the mind and the ego and this judgment wants perfection. If I can't be perfect, then I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not even going to try. You keep going back to this. You meditate. You keep going back to that sacral, step by step. This is what I'm trusting. Right? Fear is coming up. I'm just feeling it. I'm not making up stories about it. I'm just trusting my sacral. Right? Yeah. Okay. So that's what I got for the MGs. And let's go to the projectors. The projectors. So projectors, we're talking about the full moon activating the 42nd gate, right, with the 32. That's the programming partner. And also this channel of acceptance that's activated for everybody. This is a global cycle. Okay. Okay. So waiting for the invitation, waiting to be recognized, waiting for the invitation. Let me know if you have this natally, projectors. That's 1762, or even the gates, the 42 or the 32. Mercury still activating the 28 for the full moon. Looking for purpose. Okay. Looking for a fight. Thinking about the fight. Okay. Okay. What do our projector friends need to know? Let's do another one. What's the ego do? What do our projector friends need to let go of? What do our projector friends need to let go of? What do our projector friends need to let go of? Okay. Do, 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 do. The guidance. What's the guidance for the projector? What's the guidance for the projector? Oh, that should have probably come out. Okay, let's see. Another one. Okay. Okay, two jumped out for the projectors. The Ego Doom card. Bad news for the ego. Good news for the projector. And then the Authority Figure card. Okay. Okay, so the Ego Doom card. Ego Doom. This is like the best card of this deck. It's my deck that I created here. Ego Doom. I love seeing this card. So it's an ending. It's an ending, and that fits with the 42 because the 42 is all about ending. It's ending a cycle and beginning something new. So you have or about to discover a huge ego trap. This is the result of your commitment to follow your heart and your intuition, and I would add your strategy, waiting to be invited. Beware that when you come closer to your power, the more vicious the ego becomes. So this is the card that I picked after Ego Doom for you guys, projectors, and that's the Authority Figure. So look at any authority figures in your life right now. It could be anyone. It could be a friend. Could be your boss, could be your partner, could be even your child, right? Somebody that you put up, I don't want to say a pedestal, but you perceive them as having more power than you, that they have power over you. This person has power over you, right? This authority figure. This is how the ego is perceiving this person, that they have power. And of course, you're going to feel like a victim to them, right? They have the power to kick me out of my place of living. This person has the power to take away my money, right? My money. They have all this power over me. Could even be little g too, an authority figure. So really, if you bring it down to the nuts and bolts, it's about a parent, a caregiver from your past, right? So this is about fitting in. You've got to watch yourself. That's what this is saying, that you're ready to let this ancestral wound go. That I have to give away my power because I need this, I need money, right? I've got to play small. I got to censor myself, even if somebody's invited me to speak and share my wisdom. I can't tell them the truth. Right? And if we go to the Mars in the 62, the programming partner of the 62 is the 61, and that's inner truth, right? That's about being in your truth, About, look, 1762, I'm going to communicate what I see, the patterns that I see with this person. Maybe you're going to look at, for this full moon, you're going to look back at your life, and you're going to see patterns, right? Maybe patterns of self-sabotage that you don't want to bring in, right? You're letting go, 42, letting go of that, this full moon. I'm not bringing these patterns with me, right? Let's bring it back to yourself, though, before you start sharing these hot tips with other people. So you have to watch this with the authority figures. And so just meditate, like, who's an authority figure in my life? Who do I give my power over? Who do I censor myself around, right? And it's all about fitting in. It's all about fitting in. And to appear responsible, like, look at me, I'm responsible. A lot of shoulds here, right? A lot of shoulds. So in truth, it's really that inner child within you that's looking for love, that's looking for acceptance, because what you're doing is what your mind has done and your inner child has done is transferred the authority figure is my parent. That's how your inner child is viewing the authority figure. So to watch that, let this go, because, right, this is ego doom, so it's keeping you out of your power as a projector. Don't give your power over to any authority figures, right? You're the only authority. You're the authority of your own self, right? And look at that word, right? Authority. If you look at that word authority, there's author. You see that? The word author is an authority. You want to be your own authority. You want to be the author of your own life, right? So this is saying to stop giving your power over. And then you got the death card, which is like double, triple, quadruple echo of like, let go. It's time to start this new cycle, the 42, this full moon. So this is endings, transformation. You're going to transform your relationship to authority figures, where you become the authority. Remember, the projectors are the new leaders for the Cross of the Sleeping Phoenix. We're here to guide the other types. So transitioning, letting go, releasing these authority figures, or even maybe you have an authority figure in your life that's a friend. You respect your friend, but you notice that you turn into an inner child. You're a child around them. There's distorted thinking. That's what happens when the inner child takes over. You'll notice your voice is different. You'll notice that even your body, you'll feel smaller, even though you're not, right? You'll just feel, it's like you want to tweak into these signals of when the inner child is taken over. And that's a good sign that this needs to be transformed. Does it mean you need to leave that friend? Maybe not. Maybe you can transform the dynamic, the relationship dynamic, right? It's all about becoming a spiritual adult now. So there's an ending here. There's a releasing. There's a huge transformation. This is Scorpio, right? It's being rebirthed, these relationships. And so it's going to be like a mother figure, just because I see the Queen of Pentacles here too. So maybe it's with a mother figure. Maybe it's with your own mother that you have to transform this. Yeah. It's that person in your life. It's like, why do I feel like I turn into someone that I'm not, my not self, right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I would say there. If I would look there and then become your own, because the Queen of Pentacles is nurturing, comforting. Nurture your own self and provide for others. To me, it sounds like it's a female. And the female could be in a male body too. Somebody that's got that kind of, you treat them like a mother, in a sense, projectors. And it could be anyone. It's about having that frequency, right? It could be your child has that frequency that you give your power over to. A landlord, anybody like that. Yeah. Let me see. Okay. And somehow, just bring it back to money projectors, because this is fear of failure, fear of money, that this authority figure, and I mean, you could even, like, let's go deep here. You could even look at money as an authority figure over you. It's anything that you give power to, right? So not give your power over to money, or somebody that's holding the purse strings, like this Queen of Pentacles, which could be male or female, the Queen of Pentacles, because tarot doesn't really know gender, right? that if they're holding the purse strings, then I need to make myself small and I can't. And the ego is like, you shouldn't say that. And, like the politician, and you should say this and bolster them up. And it's all not self, right? You're completely in your not self, and you're not your projector. You're not in your projector power, right? Like completely dismissing your strategy and authority. Oh, I don't need to be invited. I'm going to pretend that I'm a generator like everybody else. Just little tricks like that, right? You want to let go. So really watch your connection. And the great thing about this, what I've learned in my experience, is once you get the knowledge and the information, then life provides you with an experience, and then you're like, oh, I do that, right? With authority figures, right? You'll be able to have a deep experience of it, but it's time to let it go. And it's around money, right? And as soon as you let this go, then you're more in the self, like your authentic self, and then you attract more, right? Because remember the cards, right? You want to be in the Empress energy here, coming home to the heart here with the Four of Wands. But the Empress energy, which is Venus, and attracting, your aura is going to attract the invitations to you. Okay. Anything else for the projectors? Anything else for the projectors? Well, just because the 17, right, it's in the North Node, that's about pattern recognition. And projectors, just by their very type, they're able to see. They've got the laser beam eyes, right? Focus and absorbing auras, that they're able to see patterns. So I would be looking at this, like, because you'll have this transit, right? This global transit for this full moon, is to look at these patterns that you have to let go of in relationship to authority figures. Okay, so let's go for the manifestors. And this is the full moon manifestors, activating the 42 and the 32, because it's the sun there. There's the 42 coming off the sacral, and then the 32. And you'll see that it's got this channel activated too. Okay. So let's do some cards. So this is about releasing something, because it's the 42 is an ending of a cycle. And I just want to remind people that Pluto went direct today. It's heading from Capricorn into Aquarius. And that's big change. That's a cycle ending. So something's ending in your life, manifestors. Okay. I want to remind the manifestors that I did a relationship video on Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. That's going to drop tomorrow. Part 1. Okay. What do we got for the manifestors? Oh, interesting. Interesting for the manifestors. Guidance. What's the guidance for the manifestors? What's the guidance for the manifestors? Okay. The manifestors got the failure card. Interesting. Nihilism card, and then the 9 of Cups there. So going through a funk. Manifestors are going through a funk. And right away my eye goes to this, manifestors. And that's Pluto in the 60. This is the gate of acceptance. It's also the gate of limitations. It's about limitations, right? About limitations. So when you don't accept limitation in your life, especially now, because Pluto's in there, Pluto wants you to transmute something very important in your life, right? And we're coming to the final lessons because it's leaving Capricorn on November 18th. It will still be in the 60 for a while, but it's changing as a zodiac sign, which is important, right? An important marker. That if you don't accept limitations in your life, then it can bring depression. It can bring you depression. It can bring you anger and frustration, right? I know those are MG and G words, but right, this can create depression. It can bring restlessness, a sense of restlessness. This is because you're not accepting the mutation. You're not accepting the mutation so it's about accepting the limitations in your life at present. So this may be, quite something for a manifestor to be unlock, right? Unlock the manifestors. So it can bring up this nihilism, right? That life is meaningless, right? That life is just meaningless, and what's the point of all this, and blah, blah, blah. Like the blahs, the black cloud over your head. Well, it's going to be with the 60. So if you embrace the limitations in your life and see them, reframe them in a different way, that this is actually positive, right? This is positive, and it's serving me in my growth and my soul's evolution. That for some reason I need to be limited right now in my life. So it could be through resources, right? So maybe you do have enough. You have enough, but the ego doesn't like that. It's like, right? And it's like, whatever I do, I come up with these limitations. As soon as I feel like more money is coming in, then a bill comes in at the same time. It's like, oh, there goes my extra money, like things like that. Well, that would be an example of this Pluto in the 60. So you want to go deeper into, well, what's this about? Because money represents fear, right? Because the 32, right? The 32 and the 42 are programming partners. This is the fear of failure. It comes from our ancestral cellular memory. Fear of failure. I'm not going to have enough. I'm going to die, right? I won't survive. It's coming deep within you. So it's not about controlling the external by like, what can I do? Because I have to manifest more money, right? You're a manifester. It's to go deeper inside, and it's like, what's this fear? Well, it's a frequency. You want to work with the frequency. You don't want to control the external. That's not the point, right? It's not going to the root. It's like putting Band-Aids on the wound or duct tape on the warning light, right, in your car. It's not going to help. You want to go to the frequency. What's the frequency here? It's fear. The frequency is fear, to let that go. And this is what it's saying, failure. You feel like you're a failure. It's a belief that you're a failure, right? It's this 32. It's echoing this 32. It stops you from trying. You get caught up in the ego's nihilistic trip. What's the point? Why bother? Nothing ever changes, right? Right? So you avoid going forward. You avoid initiating, right? You avoid it. Completely locks you off from your divine guidance too, right? And what this is saying is the 9 of Cups. So that's wish fulfillment. Wish fulfillment. Wishes are coming true. Maybe you did initiate something and nothing's happening, right? Maybe you got the divine guidance. Maybe you informed, you shared, and you initiated, but there's been this like limitation. Nothing's moving forward. Nothing's happening. Nothing's manifesting, right? This can bring nihilism, right? Can bring nihilism. But this card is saying to let go. It's like let go of expectations. That's the 42. It's the shadow of expectations. The timing, right? I have expectations that it happens on my timeline, and this is how it's going to manifest, and then these people are going to come in and do this, and there's all these disappointments, like nothing's happening, right? That's that Pluto in the 60. So your lesson could be to let go of expectations. Give it to the divine. Something's ending, right? So remember, manifestors, right? You're initiating, and then the MGs and the Gs are coming in to respond, right? They're responding to your initiation, right? So you need to give them time. It's not just you, a one woman, one man show as a manifester, that all this orchestration has to happen, right? So the MGs and the Gs, they've got to go through their trip, right? They have to go through their trip and their healing, and then it all comes together. But it's about divine timing. It's about divine timing. And we really need to learn patience right now. We really need to learn patience. So meanwhile, just deal with these greeblies about feeling like a failure. Do your inner work. Do your inner work. Especially if you're feeling limited at this time. Like, go within and do your inner work, right? And the Nine of Cups is saying that things are coming, right? Your manifestation is coming. Wishes are coming true. Satisfaction, success, recognition. In all aspects of your life, right? Love, career, and finance. Yeah. It's Jupiter and Pisces. Okay, anything else for the manifestors? Well, and dealing with your anger, right? That's the non-self manifester. Dealing with the anger, listening to the anger. And keep sharing. Maybe you have to share that with other people that you trust. It's like, this really sucks, you know? I mean, I know I'm a manifestor. I know I have this power, but there's like this invisible wall, right? I find that frustrating. I get angry about that, right? This is communication, the 1762. It's like, I'm just gonna communicate this. This is more sharing. Right? Because the manifestors always say, no, I share enough. No, you got to share even more. Even if you think you share a lot, go for it and share even more and see, like breaking down the walls, right? Yeah. Anything else for the manifestors? I know. The only failure, you know, because it's an illusion, this failure success thing. The only failure is you losing hope, right? You losing hope. You losing your faith in the divine, right? You believing that you're a failure. That's the only failure, is you believing that you're a failure, you know? And this is coming from the ancestors, right? The divine didn't place you on the planet as a manifester to have a good laugh at you. You know what I mean? Like the divine's up there laughing, oh, look at that manifester. They're hopeless and they think they're a failure. Ha ha ha. No, you come for a big purpose, but you have to have patience with yourself, right? Patience with yourself, patience with the other types, right? They don't move as fast as the manifestors, right? So just having patience and keeping yourself content, emotionally content. So what can I do right now to make myself emotionally content, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the reflectors here. And this is kind of the wrap up. It's the reflectors, and I love to hear from you reflectors. Okay, because you're so rare. I actually met one in 3D the other night at the park. That was exciting. And I always thought something was odd about her. The few times that I met her. And then somebody mentioned human design or something, and she said she was a reflector. She didn't know much about being a reflector. But it's like, oh, it makes sense, right? I was surprised by her, actually. That's what I want to say. So this is for the reflector. This is the full moon. And this is for the other types too. Let's kind of wrap up for the other types. Okay. Okay, what do we have for our reflector friends for guidance? Okay. We have another one for the reflectors. Okay. Gain on the floor. Oh, right on. Okay. That's a good one. Okay. What's the ego trap for this full moon for the reflectors and the other types? Okay. There we go. Oh. Okay. Interesting. So the conflict card for the ego card is conflict. 5 of Wands, which is more conflict from the tarot. And then the Empress card. The Empress card. Major theme for this reading. Okay. So the reflector and the other types, if you're another type, you're going to resonate with this one because it's kind of for all of us. That's what I've noticed with the reflector. Okay. So it's reminding me a bit of the generators because the generators got the competition card. Okay, so something is coming to an ending. A cycle is coming to an ending. And it's around conflict. Yeah, it's around conflict here. So maybe you've been in a relationship with others where there's conflict, competition, arguments. There's been tension. There's been clashes of the ego, right? That this is coming to a close. And it's going to bring peace and harmony. So to bring it like deeper, how you can work with this for this full moon is if you're experiencing conflict on the external, it's a mirror. It's a mirror of the conflict that's going on within you, right? So you have conflict within you that you have to resolve. So conflict could be, do I follow my strategy or not, right? Conflict could be, do I follow my head or my heart? Right? Conflict could be, do I follow my intuition or do I follow my ego? It can be like this back and forth. But when you choose to, because that's duality, right? The duality, we live in a plane of duality. So we have this dualistic nature. Even with 4 of Wands, right? That's the card for the full moon that breaks down to Venus and Aries. And that's the Emperor and the Empress. And these two are opposite of one another as well, right? So this time that we're in is really about merging duality, right? Transcending, merging, and then transcending duality. And duality, that's what we do on the spiritual journey. And before we do that, we are going to be in conflict. And it's really these two planes within us, because it starts within us, right, are merging. And so, right, with the egos don't want to merge. They don't want to merge. That's what the twin flame journey's about. Like watch the twin flame reading too, is there's the egos. That's why the twin flames go through an ego death. They can't come together, right? Because the ego, they're like this. That's the food for the ego, right? The food for the ego is conflict. It's like yummy, 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 yummy. It creates conflict. It has to create conflict to stay alive. And that's why this dissolution of the ego has to happen in the twin flame journey, which is really an amplified, mega amplified reflection of what is happening for each one of us, right? So this is saying to merge these two sides, reflector, if you have two sides, and the other type, projector, manifestor, MGG. If you have two sides that are in conflict with one another, and you'll be able to see it on the external. If you have conflict with somebody on the external, in the external world, ask yourself, who does, let's say she, who does she represent within me? Right? I have this conflict with this person. Who does she represent within me? That's your question. Right? Who does she represent within me? Oh, it could be like a person that's really fearful of money. That person really bugs me, right? They're always talking about money. They're always fearing that they don't have enough money. And I know they've got tons of money, even though they have tons of money and they're fearing they don't have enough money. Like something like that. It's like whatever bugs you, right? Whatever pokes you. What's bugging me about that? Well, that's a reflection of you. There's a part of you that fears money. Right? That fears not having enough money, right? That you don't want to acknowledge. So there can be a conflict there because you're not owning it, right? So the conflict can get buried in your subconscious mind. It's like this other part of you and your subconscious mind that's so fearful of money and I'm not going to survive and I'm a failure. And then your conscious self is like, you're doing all the law of attraction and you're doing, oh, I'm trusting and everything's great and right. But no, you've got these two sides in conflict with one another. And it often comes out in the dream world, but you're going to see it on the external. You're going to see what you are will be mirrored back to you, right? What you are will be mirrored back to you. It's going to show you your relationship with the divine. That's what relationship conflicts are. They show you where you're in relationship with the divine for good or bad, right? So you want to look at that and work with it. This is time to let this go. That's what the full moon is saying. It's time to really let this go. It's time to use that channel of acceptance and really look at your patterns. Look at your patterns in truth. What kind of people really, really bug me? That's Shadow 101. They're going to show you where you're in conflict. Yeah, and it's going to be this bugging, this irritability, right? This irritability. But it's the Five of Wands. So the Five of Wands isn't like major conflict. To me, it's like it's an internal conflict. I would take your attention off the external and bring it back to the internal and look at your own self. Right, where you're in conflict, because you want to come into unity, and that's what this Empress card is about, right? That's part of the energy of this Four of Wands. You're coming back home to the heart, to your heart, right? These two have to merge. Maybe these two are in conflict inside you. Maybe you're more in your masculine energy, and you want to be a human doing. Do, busy, right? And they're in conflict, right? Within you. But the Empress is saying to love yourself, that you have to love yourself. You have to come into unity. You have to slow down. The Empress to me is really the 15th gate too. It's not activated, but the 15th gate. It's powerful aura. This is magnetism, right? Magnetism, the 15. But it's to come into a relaxed state. Out of conflict, coming into a relaxed state, trusting, right? Venusian, this is Venus, right? Trusting your divine feminine, right? That everything's coming in. I'm sure she loves the moon, right? Here. And then the Empress rules the heart chakra. The Empress rules the heart chakra. Yeah. Okay. Anything else for that? That's what I would say for conflict. To deal with conflict is to let go of your internal conflict. Yeah. We really need to embrace a new way of being, right? A new way of being for this time. To really, we ought to, the 42 and the 32.5, fifth lines, really tell us that we have to adapt and change to this new way of being. Yeah. Okay. So that's what I have, everybody. And I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please press like. And just a reminder, the next online retreat is November 1st, 3rd. Dealing with the inner child. That's where all the juice is. All the juice of the not self can be found here, right? From 0 to 7 years old. So be working with that, but we'll also be looking at what you need it. Taking away what's not you, right? What's not aligned with your authentic self in accordance to your chart. Lots of meditations, lots of tools and technology to let go of the not self, but also to interject what you needed as in that age group that you didn't get, and it's based on your chart, right? So it's very, very mutative. Like, I'm a very mutative being. I'm a pure individual. So I'm here, and plus I'm on the right angle cross of contagion. So I'm very, very mutative, and magic happens during these retreats. So please keep that in mind and have yourself the experience. Before Pluto goes into Aquarius, you'll be set up, right, with this. Okay, and reminder that the Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera relationship reading, human design reading, it drops tomorrow around this time. So be sure to watch that, okay? And I will see you in the next video. Okay, Sat Nam Aloha, everybody. Take care.